Let her sound come on first. Look at all.
Was I a little turned before we got on here?
No, girl, you was looking sexy. I was like,
oh, y'all saw that. See, y'all need a hand raise, a doorbell or something. I'm like, let me get myself in.
Like, she looking too good right now.
Well, how y'all doing?
City girl.
You better let them know, King. You better let them know.
Hey, ladies.
Hey, girl. Welcome.
I'm excited.
Oh,
yes.
We're very happy to have you on here.
Thank you,
girl. First one, we're going to jump right in it. And I'm going to welcome you again to the OOUU Pod, where we're overly obsessed, unsung, and underground, where we are here embracing our artists and, you know, we love music. But this theme of this season is all about behind the scenes. So we have with us today Kenya Sheats. She is just
everything.
Entrepreneur, journalist, publicist, celebrity journalist, publicist, and self-published author of #100 Sheets, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So we are just so happy to have you. I don't know if you guys tapped into the second season, but we briefly spoke to her and just got a good message and word from her. And we just had to call you back. Okay.
Thank you. Oh, look, planned, scheduled. The last one was promised too.
Yes, but this one was planned. So we was like, we gotta get Kate back on here.
I'm excited. So what's good, OOUU Pod?
Hey, oh my God!
How y'all been since the last time we spoke? I mean, consistent. And what else?
Trying, yes. Okay. I mean, more or less, we are, you know, really working towards, you know, building our brand, making it a business, and I hope selling some products, and you call it providing services. Yes, you know, we really are learning a lot, like, you know, speaking to everyone. And I've already started myself with artist management, believe it or not. I have one person in particular. He is a producer, upcoming producer that I've been working with recently. So yeah, we just, you know, elevating.
Oh, that's higher.
Yes. And how about you, Miss?
How have you been?
Y'all, I be playing hide and go seek with my laptop. I be
oh, I know that. I
be in my laptop, sleeping with my laptop, hiking a mountain, networking, trying to social distance. You know what I'm saying? Making it to church so these blessings can keep falling down.
Come on now.
I can't complain. I'm grateful and I'm here. You know, everything has been nothing but a blessing. Like, I've been trying to like tell myself it's okay to slow down. Like, direction is better than speed. But then sometimes like that unproductivity or that I just want to rest makes me feel unproductive. And it's like, it's something that you can be doing. But just like the computer, it has a rest button.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying? So I try to allow myself, this computer of myself, to rest as well. So that's what's going on with me.
Yes.
I mean, but you gotta allow yourself to rest. You definitely gotta rest.
One band, one sound. That's how I one woman show.
I mean, do we have to pray for increase in staff? I mean, do you think that's in the works?
You know, all I need to do is just ask so I can receive. You know, I don't even think it's about increase. I think it's more so of me trying to find people who are willing to work diligently like I did going up or in this industry, or just being someone looking for experience. Like, a lot of people aren't hungry, you know, or they're looking for the bigger brands or the clout. And I need people who are intentional. You know what I'm saying? People who are results driven, who are self-motivated, and who just believes in me. You know what I'm saying? Like, in the vision. And I might be able to find that. I just haven't asked for it, but I'm just in a space where it's like, you know, when you want something done, you can just do it yourself. So I make time. that means I might have to sacrifice, some events. It might mean sacrificing some relationships, some friendships, or some partying, just so I can focus. And I'm willing to do that until I do find my tribe.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm willing.
Good.
I understand.
And speaking of vision, for those people, that are listening with the OOUU Pod, briefly tell everyone like what you do, like your profession.
Yes.
Okay. So the page that you all follow is called Can You Write For Me? And that is where I handle all things writing pertaining to branding, business, public relations, design. I'm not a graphic designer, but I know how to design graphics, and and I just help people to communicate their message, help to maximize people's visions and bring that into reality, to help them to increase their brand exposure and their awareness. So I'm the go-to person for all things results, writing, PR, and consulting.
Okay.
Wow. So if you weren't doing this, what you were doing now, what do you think that you would have been doing at this moment?
That's kind of hard, because when I was in my 9-to-5, I always knew deep down, like, this cannot be my all to all.
Mm-hmm.
And even when I got to the corporate level, I was meeting women at like 47, wishing that they were my age, or wishing they were me in my shoes, to still be able to chase their dreams. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
And that scared me, because I'm like, I don't want to be in a position where I'm always comparing myself to someone else, or regretting that I didn't take that chance to bet on myself and do what I always wanted to do. So with meeting those women in that position, like, I'm like, they ain't only 20 years older than me, but what did you do in these 20 years? You get what I'm saying? Like, you allowed yourself to let your dreams pass by, or maybe you just didn't give it the attention that it needed. So that just inspired me to say, no, that's not what we're going to do. Like, I don't want to live in a cubicle for my life, for the rest of my life. I'm bigger than this box that they're trying to put me in, or they're telling me that this is what I have to do. So I will always be doing media. I've been doing it since 8th grade. But in that position, yes. But in that position, I was a senior administrative assistant. So either I'll be helping somebody else run their business, or I just use that skill set to run my own.
Okay. Wow. So what's the first thing you've ever written?
Well, actually, I still have my prompts from middle school when I was in 7th grade. Shout out to Mr. Caldwell, my literature arts teacher. And I have all of my writing prompts. My mom has kept them. And I've been writing as a journalist, or doing poetry, just storytelling and expressing myself since I was 12 in the 7th grade. So I've just been creative writing. I've just always allow myself to express myself with words. So I can't say exactly what was the first thing. I just know in 7th grade, that's when I knew. Actually, I wrote this poem, and I made like a little remix that is playing basketball, but I kind of had my own version. I wish I had it beside me, but that right there, it was like freedom to me. Like, nobody could say what was right or wrong. It was like, this came to my mind and it's rhyming, and it's like I'm doing it effortlessly. Like, sometimes if I'm writing poems, or just like in my journal, it's a rhyme. Like, it's not meant to be. It's just that I can just find that word. It's like it's supposed to be there.
And see, that was my next question, because I was getting ready to ask you, which one was one of your favorites that you wrote?
That one in particular, because that's the only one that I can remember at this moment, was just the poem. And I love poetry, and I continue to write poetry. I took a poetry workshop class when I was in school. So poetry.
Yes. So let's go back a little bit. We did read about how you were first getting started and you were living in New York. Tell us a little bit about your experience in getting your first, like, your press pass to your first event while still being homeless.
Well, let me sum that up. That wasn't my first event.
That wasn't your first event.
I've been doing media since 2013. That wasn't my first event, but that was a place where I was in my low place, when I was in my valley, when I was in a season of uncertainty. However, there was something inside of me that would not allow the media in me to die, right? So even as a person in New York, homeless, I guess I was running away from everything I was dealing with at home. Like, things were just bad. Things were out of my control. And I just wanted to get away. And New York is like my creative haven. And so for me, I took the Amtrak from Atlanta to New York. It took me 19 hours. It's crazy when I tell a story now, but then it was real. And it took me 19 hours up. I talked the whole time. There's so many people while I was on the train. And then when I got off, I sat there in Penn Station for 2 hours and was like, life is about to happen when we leave here. Let's figure it out. So I seen that opportunity. What was I looking at? I can't remember what I was looking at, but I seen it and I just signed up for it. And I was like, I know I might be in these four walls, but it's about what I create outside of this. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, it might be a place where I lay my head, shower. It was about, what do you do in the 24 hours outside of this? You know what I'm saying? Like, this is where you house, but this is New York City. Like, dreams are limitless here. Like, opportunities are possible. So how do you make that for yourself? So I was the girl that was living a double life. Like, I was using that shelter, for shelter, but I got on that ENF train and took those trips to Manhattan and was in the library. I had a consultation with a client that actually came from Atlanta and was visiting his family in Philly, but he loves the train and he wanted to take a trip to New York. And I'm like, yo, I'm out here. Meet me at Starbucks. Had a whole consultation. And it wasn't like I wasn't making the money. It was just that New York is expensive, so it was like, I thought that I needed New York clients when your girl should have had New York rates. Okay. It was like, I didn't know that. I didn't have anybody to tell me, like, go up a little bit. Okay. So even then, or like in a shelter, I had one client. I was doing social media for her, teaching her how to, utilize social media for her online business and how to create content in the shelter, building websites, receiving payments. Like,
that's so inspiring.
And nobody would have known that. Like, nobody, like, even when like they would be on the intercom and they would say like announcements, I just put the phone on mute, and my clients had no idea. All I did was show up and I was just doing what I knew what to do, because I knew I needed money in my pocket. I knew I needed food, to eat. I needed clothes. I needed what I needed, and this was the way to get it. Like, it wasn't just the gifts is what works for you. And so I would literally wake up. We had to be gone by 8:30, and we would have to have a curfew. Well, we had to be back by 10 or we'll lose our bed. But I wasn't already a homeless girl. I had a 1 a.m. curfew. I had a 1 a.m. curfew. I came back when I wanted to, because at that point I did have like a little seasonal job at UPS. It was real seasonal and real quick. But that's how I was able to get that get the extension for my curfew. But I made the best out of it. And I was doing women's resumes while I was in there, girl. One girl who slept beside me, Sabria. Shout out to Sabria. She will be like, King, I got an interview today. And I'm like, girl, using that same resume I wrote you? She was like, yeah, girl. And I'm like, okay, so this to work.
Yes.
Writing for other people. And I'm like, I was just being a blessing when I needed the help the most. Like,
that part.
I was
mentally
exhausted. Like I said, like, I left Atlanta because I was tired. Like, I was heartbroken back home. I didn't have the right relationships with my parents. Like, it was like, I just want to be away. And even in that space, I was still able to serve. I was still able to be selfless.
So what is your motivation? Like, what motivates you to keep going?
This is all I can do. This is all I know how to do. This is all I've been equipped and trained to do. Like, I'm a resume writer, but I can't write the resume to get me a job. I've relocated people, I've promoted people, I've gotten people interviews. I cannot open that door for me. It doesn't work. And every time I pray about it, because, you know, as an entrepreneur, you had them dry seasons, you know, and it's like every time I pray about it, it might be a client that come and get a package in abundance. So it's like, oh, that can last me over. You know, so it's like, why keep watering something that's dead? Why keep trying to water something that there's no life, nothing, no root, no nothing. Like when I left, it was like God nailed the door. Like you can't go back to this door. You need to figure it out. Like I said, since I was in 7th grade, like I know how to write in different voices. I know how to write in different tones. My last name is Sheats, okay? So I mean, I'm a born writer.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
But that's just all I know how to do. And at this point, I'm convinced that that's all I'm going to glamours of the celebrity, but it's the writing behind that. It's the content. It's the presentation of how I'm delivering this client. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm a journalist before I'm a publicist. I have my degree, shout out to Clark Atlanta, in journalism. So I went from being in front of red carpets, reporting the event, to maybe I'm ushering and working the carpet, or maybe I'm putting on the event.
Right. What was your first major event? And like, talk to us about how you kind of went from the ordinary to the celebrity.
Right.
My first ever event, I will never forget it. Clark Atlanta, I was kind of like y'all, thinking I was gonna have my own radio show. It didn't work out. But at the same time, they still kept like the radio station. They had a general body meeting, and they were supposed to be updating us about the streaming services. But in the midst of that, it was like, well, we got an opportunity for people to volunteer to work the So Def 20th anniversary party. And I'm like, this ain't radio, but I listen to So Def. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, indeed.
So I signed up. And so the crazy part about it was I'm a volunteer. This is back in 2013. I know what I'm doing. All I know is I signed up and it had me at media checking. So I'm checking in Vibe magazine, 106 Park, all hip hop, all these. And then I did that for like maybe an hour. And then it was like, well, we want you to come to the red carpet. Mind you, I'm a volunteer and I'm working the red carpet where I can't walk across the red carpet or Anthony Hamilton or Carl Thomas or the Brat, JD. I think was Ludacris there. It was a start to the room, but I'm there as a volunteer. And so I told my best friend that night, I'm like, yo, whatever I gotta do, like, sign me up. Like, I want to do this for the rest of my life. And that next day was part 2. Next part of the event was the actual Fox Theater, the anniversary concert. So this was my first press junket. I seen Fredio.com, who was real big.
Yeah.
And 106 in Park was there, but this is when they had like the 4 hosts. But it was the guy, I don't remember his name, but he was there. It was just amazing. That's all I know. And they told me because they like how I did the carpet the day before, that they wanted me to do the carpet again. So I started off doing a red carpet. I think I did it for the whole event. And it was amazing. It was star-studded. It was luxurious. It was exclusive. You know, it was like, wow, this is life. And again, I'm a volunteer. This is like, you don't know what room you're gonna walk in when you say yes to unpaid opportunities. You get what I'm saying? Sometimes you just need to show up. And that's when I understood the value of experience. And it was like, I couldn't get that anywhere else. It was just showing up and saying yes as a volunteer. And so that opened the door for me. After that event, I started writing for this online publication called Fame Magazine.
And that's when I wrote my first article. And I wrote it about Angela Simmons and fashion. And when I seen my name online, I was like, yo, like I was a Twitter head at the time. So it was like, and I can post my work online. And it was like, I was writing 3, 4, 5 articles a week. It was like, whatever they needed me to do. Like, my articles was on top of rotation. It was on the front page.
Yes.
I loved it. And so this is 2013. Mind you, it's 2021. Mm-hmm. So I was, taking over Twitter, following people, getting at that point I was running the company's their Twitter page, and their followers was increasing. People was actually engaged in the content. People was reading the content, and that's what spearheaded everything for me was the volunteering at Social Dub 20th anniversary, my first internship writing for a magazine publication, and I never looked back.
Hey,
loved it.
That is so inspiring, Kenya.
Thank you.
So what is the best advice that you have received that has just stuck with you?
That's right. My dad says that the best self-experience is the best experience. And I think I live by that because
for sure.
You said, hold on.
No, I said for sure.
Oh,
I've
noticed that me and you could be in the same room, but we'll have two different experiences.
Exactly.
So the third person can sit up here and ask both of us, what did we get from it? You might not have a great experience like I did. You get what I'm saying? But at the same time, it was like I had to find the good in where I was at. See, you might have been antisocial, but for me, I just worked that whole room. And so I'm the type of person that's not going to allow what someone else says. I'm going to go experience it for myself and have my own point of view.
Yes.
And so that self-experience is the best experience. It's like my bishop was saying, like, wisdom only comes from the mistakes you make, right? And then you learn from that and you do better. So regardless if my experiences have been good or bad, is that I was able to learn it on my own, right? And sometimes you got those people that try to steer you in the right direction, but it's like they just got to figure it out for themselves. And sometimes it's necessary because it's a lesson. It's something in that is meant for us, regardless if it feels good or not. And so I'm just always, again, even with homelessness, like people would have been like, girl, you got a whole family. Y'all live in this big old house in the suburbs.
Right.
Why?
Right.
But the relationship that was in the house wasn't there for me. You get what I'm saying? You worrying about the capsule. I'm worrying about what I got to go through inside. And so for me, it was like, my auntie say I ran away, but for me, I wanted to get away.
Right.
I just wanted to be away. I love New York because it's an energy. It's a creative haven. That's why all creatives, all writers, everybody should live in New York, if you ask me.
Yeah.
But I thrive off of that energy. And so I stayed up there for like 3 months and came home. I had to rehabilitate on my mama couch, and I've been trapping out the basement, as I call it. But it was necessary.
Yeah.
They always say it's a blessing in every lesson.
It is. So self-experience is the best experience for me.
Yeah. And it's so beautiful because I'm here, and that's what brought me here. I've been here for like 5 years, but even before that, I was here off and on too. And as just, I've always been approached like, all right, when you going to move back to Maryland, or when are you going to move somewhere else? But it's just like something that keeps me here, and I love the fact that I have someone else like I'm speaking to that just gets it. It's just like, just your location is everything. I was listening to TD Jakes recently, and he, preached a sermon about that. It's just like, talking about the story of Abraham and how, it was all about go. Like, I'm telling you to go to that location. Yeah, to move.
Even when it doesn't even make sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, it didn't make sense for me, but it's like, look how many people was impacted. Sometimes God got to take us low because they couldn't meet Kenya in this version.
Come on.
Come on, Kenya.
You couldn't get this version of me. We wouldn't have been able to resonate. We wouldn't have been able to relate at this capacity. It took for me to be in a low place. But it also took for me to be in a space where it's like, you're going to meet more people that's in a low space than those who are successful. So how can you give back? And with me being the only child, it was like, I mean, my mama raised me to not even go through nothing, right? Just from like enablement. You might think like you spoil, you don't, you just spoil, but it was like, no, like I felt handicapped at one point, so me going to New York was like, how do you really survive?
Right.
And then it was like, but when I came home, I was meeting so many people, not just with a homeless story, but with a story that I could finally relate to when it came to hustling, it came to grinding, came to not being able to find your way, being stuck on these dudes. Like I was just meeting all these kind of women that it was like I had finally had a testimony. Though it might seem like it was crazy or bizarre, it was like nobody can take that away from me. And then I can also know in my mind what it's like to be in a valley and what it's like to be on top of a mountain, but to understand that I can be in any situation at any other time, so be grateful.
Yeah,
and to be humble. Because I used to work at a church and I used to serve the homeless. So when I became a homeless person, it was like, oh God, you real funny. You know what I'm saying? But I used to always say when I worked at the church, like, I'm grateful to be on this side of the door. But with the women on the other side of the door, I used to treat them with respect. One of them, Kiana Hawkins, became my best friend. You know what I'm saying? It was like, I just had a heart for people. And it didn't matter what they were going through. Somebody needed love. And God used me to love on others in my time of despair.
But when's the last time you've been up here? Like, you have events up here coming up?
I actually had my second time around. When was that? I had ended up getting a client maybe like 2 months. 2 months after I came back home, and he was doing like she was a vegan chef, and he was doing a food tour, art tour. And that's when I went back to New York on all paid expense, girl.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I'm not going to let your last memory be like that. I'm going to bring some goodness to you, because New York, I'm not done with that space. I'm not done at all. I just know that when I get there, I know how to take that train. I know how to move. I know how to carry myself. I know the lingo. And I feel like that's my level up for me. Like, that's like, if you talk about a level or a game board, like, I just said to myself the other day, like maybe even yesterday, Atlanta's like a ceiling. It only lets you go so far. You know what I'm saying? Like,
okay.
If you ever played a video game and you know that this used to be a hard level, but now the level is easy and now you can play it as many times and win. That's how I feel like in Atlanta. Like, I've done everything that I can do here to win. That right now it's not even a challenge. And do you call it winning?
Yeah.
Is it even willing when you know that you're going to win? You get what I'm saying? That you're able to complete this mission. At this point, it's kind of an insanity.
Dang, I don't know. That might have to be on the record now. That is some good stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's insanity now.
If you don't feel a challenge, like I never thought of it like that. Like, if I don't feel a challenge, like, are you really winning? If you know you're gonna win,
you know you're gonna win. It's different when you train for the challenge and now you winning. But I was like, but you done train and lost, but you keep winning every time you do it. Like, if you lose, that's because of a mistake that you just carelessly made, but you know how to do it.
Right.
I want to get to the space, and that's what I'm trying to get myself, is accepting a new space where I don't know how to win. And it's the challenges that I can actually say has discouraged me, because it's like I ain't winning yet, you know. And it's like,
is it in a certain arena? Like, is it in a certain space?
I'm tapping into wholesale real estate.
Okay.
But my thing about that is, though, seeking mentorship. That's been my biggest thing. Like, though I don't know how to do it, I said, do I want to stay here and just feel defeated, or do we want to go outside of our comfort zone and go out and do more? So for me, I've invested in courses. I've invested even that part, you know what I'm saying? Invested in 200, 300 courses or systems, you know. It's been a lot, but now I'm just like, but that shows me how serious I was.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, okay, I've had these couple of mentors. And, you know, when people in it, they forget about you a little bit, but I appreciate the time and the knowledge that they did give me. But I got a call tomorrow with somebody because I'm like, yo, post, he posted something like he closed like $100,000 deal.
Okay.
And I'm like, yo, that's what, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm thinking that maybe it's gonna be this job, maybe it's gonna be with this company, maybe it's gonna be with this. And guys, like, I sent you something that you keep talking about abundance and financial freedom. Like, I sent you something for the overflow. I need you to tap in.
Yeah.
And I need you to do what you can, and I do what you can't. And he blesses us through people. So it's like, I gotta get to know more people. More people need to get to know me. And it's the strangers that's gonna help to elevate me, because when you try to move in a space where your peers are, some people, and I've witnessed it myself, like they be intimidated. Everybody don't want to put you on. And it's crazy because I'm always putting other people on. So I'm like, damn, I just want the people that's gonna put me on like I put other people on. Like, selflessly, not looking for nothing in return, just doing it because you want to see people win. So I'm just, you know, letting myself be open, getting out my own way to say, we're going to take on this next challenge, but it's going to be worth it.
Yes.
So, and it's out of my arena. So I'm like, okay.
So I have a personal question. So how do you keep up with the order? Because I feel the same way. Like, that's why I'm so glad that we're having this conversation, because you confirm it so much. But like, how do you right. But how do you
teach me? Learn what they say, learn me something.
Learn me something.
Right. I was just like, oh my gosh, like, it's just so, your hands in so many things. So it's just like, how are you, like, what is the,
how do you prioritize stuff?
What is the gem? Like, what is the secret in being able to execute so well in so many areas?
Rest.
Mm-hmm.
Rest. Because it's all mental. And if I am mentally exhausted, I can't work. I allow myself to watch whatever show. I allow myself to go outside. And just like, I love hiking. I love being in nature. I love sitting by large bodies of water.
Oh, that's me.
And while I'm in there, I'm literally mentally strategizing on what I'm about to do next. I write everything down. So that's the easy part. But it's literally mentally saying, like, or speaking to her, like, I'm gonna do this, and then I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do this, or I'm gonna do this, or I'm doing a business plan, y'all. It's like I'm creating like a $2 million business plan for this lady. And it has my mind like, whoa. Like, mind boggling, like that emoji when his mind is blowing up, like that was me. And I said, I'm gonna take a break from last Friday till today. But even in the midst of taking a break from that project, I had another project I needed to do.
When is it due? See, but that's what I'm saying. So you got due dates, I'm sure. Like,
I tell all my clients 2 weeks. I told this man 2 weeks, but it took me 2 days to do it. But I had to mentally get to that space on where I'm saying, this is when I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
So I always try to be, and I tell them that, I say I got a lot going on, and I just try to be realistic with myself and my time, because at the end of the day, if I'm not behind a computer, I'm in the field and I'm still networking. I got a meeting tomorrow, and this is really some exclusiveness, but if I can get Amaretta as my client, I have
you got meeting. It's already.
I have a meeting with her team tomorrow.
Yeah.
And that was just showing up to an event that I almost said I wasn't gonna go to, but I was like, nah, man, this is, we gotta be there, you know, like I feel like every time I get an invite, depending on who's inviting me. But when I do get an invite, I'm very selective, but I can tell on who the publicist is, who gonna be in that room. And so I go based off of that in their relationships. Like, someone's so connected, or she has this caliber. It's like feeling the vibe out. So if I know who's inviting me, then I say yes, but I'm glad I did, because I mean, I have my own magazine. It's called My Way Magazine. It's a faith-based lifestyle entertainment publication. That's literally how I've been able to get on the scene and work with people. That's the door that I go through. So my way is how I can't do nothing without my way. That is the foundation. So I have a photographer that goes to events with me or without me. But if I'm there, he gonna let everybody know this is my CEO. I love Michael. Shout out to Michael Shelton. He's the type of person that's gonna promote you, footwork, make sure you get your followers up. Like he is a blessing. Like I'm so blessed to have him on my team. And
God bless him. Yeah.
He just this my CEO and I'm shaking hands and depending on who I see who was with so and so, like I seen the lady with Amaretta and I'm like, oh, y'all must need a publicist on your team. And she taps the manager like, hey, she's a publicist. And so got the information, followed up today, like, yo, you got lunch? And he's like, I actually going out of town tomorrow, but we can do that before I leave. It's just all about present yourself. It's all about at this point, it's like I got deliverables. I know how to make it happen, not to be arrogant, not to be cocky, but I'm a publicist that bring results. I usually get clients that feel like they done invested in everybody, and I'm like the last resort. But I'm like, you don't even know who you connect.
Don't even know who you
You think you tired, but I'm gonna make you excited again. You know, so that's it. So prioritizing it just really come from writing everything down and mentally preparing and executing. Like the resume, it's simplistic, but it's phases to it. You get what I'm saying? So for me, I'm always a 3-day writer. The third day, I'm always a 3-day writer. You know, I give myself that time to process the information. I give myself the time to outline the information. And then all I got to do is type it up and design it, lay it out.
Yeah.
But that's it.
Okay. All right. I hear you. I'm listening.
So let our listeners know where they can find you at, Kenya.
So I'm at Kenya Write For Me on Instagram and Facebook. Kenya Write For Me, FORE. Kenya Write For Me. And then kenyasheats.com, KenyaSheats.com. 100 Sheets is on Amazon. And I'm not the type of person to be like Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Walmart. I am an independent author and I want all 100% of my proceeds. So you can just
go straight to her.
Go straight to the website.
You know, so that I'm understanding what I'm understanding.
Come holler at us.
Hey, y'all, I still don't even have my mind wrapped around being an author. Like it has its phases. Sometimes I believe it, and then sometimes sometimes I don't. But I mean, one weekend, you know, I got a skincare line. One week or 2 weeks, my skincare line could be booming, and I'm whipping up the mask because I make everything myself. And then I might get pulled over to do a resume. Then somebody reaches out and say, "Hey, I need a website built." So I literally allow myself, yes. I've been designing websites, menus, business cards. You'd be like, I didn't even know you can do that. It's like
you're creative.
And I think when I began, it was like I didn't have the business mindset. A lot of us are creatives, but we don't ask for the dollar in what we do. The only thing that we missing out is asking for the sale.
Right.
That's it. And then sometimes we shortchange ourselves. We're like, well, I'm gonna just charge $25. It's like, bro, you've been working on this for 5 years. Like, you don't need to do nothing for $25. Like, your bills ain't $25.
No, they're not.
So I told my best friend the other day, I said, however much your bills are, that's how much your service need to be, and add a zero.
That's a good. I never heard that before.
So
I never heard that one.
Bills $160, add a zero. It's $1,600. That's your service. Make it make sense. And I'm at that point where I said I wanted New York clients, but I needed New York rates. Now I'm really like premium status. Like I'm not going less than 500, and I'm like asking for 10,000 at this point for PR.
Yeah.
So I feel like that Birkin bag is only getting paid or bought at 19,000 because somebody said it at 19,000.
Yeah, exactly.
If you set it at 9,000, it's gonna be 9,000. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. So you really have to price it on what you want it to be. But if you're gonna be a luxury business, make sure that experience is luxury. Make sure that customer service is top tier. Make sure you know how to, because I'm telling clients 2 weeks, like I still got anticipation. How do I hold them up until I can get done what I need them to do without them micromanaging, without, them feeling like I done gave her my money, where she at? Or I can have clients and be like, girl, I just paid you for this, but you just went to Karen movie premiere last night. But then it's like, well, I just sent you what you needed early this morning. It's like, dang, so you went out last night and you still was able to send me something before 10 o'clock. So
go ahead, Keegan.
Girl. You know what I'm saying? Like it has to make sense. And when people depend on you, and this is how you know you're gonna eat, you ain't gonna mess that up.
Yeah.
No, you're not.
You're not gonna mess that up, and you'll be a fool to mess it up.